Good, happy Tuesday morning. I'm Riley King, and welcome to Good Morning, New Hampshire. Let's get started. First up, police release ID of driver killed in crash on I-93 in Manchester. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9.
25 from a heroin addiction. Our whole family brought us to our knees when we lost him. What I would like my question answered from Maggie Hassan, why are our families and our people...
State police here are investigating what happened just after 6:30 tonight out on Interstate 93 in Manchester. It appears that several vehicles were involved in the crash on 93 South. It was just before the 293 split in heavy traffic. One car ended up in the median. State police on scene indicated that one person in that vehicle did not survive the crash. While several ambulances were called to the scene, it is still unclear if others were hurt in the collision. First responders and investigators closed 3 left lanes of I-93 South. They were detouring the holiday traffic around the scene. At this hour, we don't know yet what led to the crash, and the name of the person who died has not been released yet tonight. State police here are investigating the fatal crash, and they will be releasing more information. Live in Bedford tonight, Jean Mackin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that report. New Hampshire high school student among 5 killed in crash on I-89. New Hampshire teen among 5 killed in Vermont crash. Flags in Vermont were lowered to half-staff Monday for 5 teenagers who were killed in a wrong-way crash over the weekend. Police said Stephen Boygon, 36 of Wilston, was driving a Toyota Tundra north in the southbound lanes on I-89 Saturday night when he crashed into a Volkswagen Jetta. The Jetta burst into flames and killed all 5 teenagers inside, including Jane Causey, 15, a sophomore at Kimball Union Academy in Meriden, New Hampshire. She was a resident of Freyton, Vermont, and had apparently gone home for the holiday weekend. Mary Harris and Chris Zock, both of Moortown, Liam Hall, 16 of Freytown, and Ella Brooks, 16 of Waterbury, were also killed in the crash. Police said that after the crash, the driver of the truck stole the police cruiser of an officer who arrived at the scene to try to pull the teens from their burning vehicle. Burgon caused another series of crashes before being captured and is now in critical condition, police said. Kimball Union administrators said students are returning to school Monday night and Tuesday. Teachers plan to take time out of classes Tuesday to talk about the crash and remember Coys. David Ortiz, Red Sox bow out. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9.
Is not the safety and welfare of the patients at New Hampshire Hospital. For months, we've tried to warn her that they didn't have.
Well, welcome live to Fenway Park, where the Indians have swept the Red Sox out of the playoffs. It was a heartbreaking ending to the season for Sox fans, but that quickly turned into a heartwarming moment. Let's show you what we're talking about. It's the kind of thing that if you were lucky enough to witness it, you will never forget it. About 10 minutes after the game ended and the Cleveland Indians were done their celebrating and finally heading into the locker room, the fans were still in the stands on their feet chanting, "We're not leaving." They would not leave the park until David Ortiz came out of the locker room and they could salute him one last time, and vice versa. Ortiz finally came out, walked slowly to the mound, got to the top of the mound, just kind of spun in circles, waved his hat to the crowd, teared up, and then slowly walked back to the dugout, and his baseball career ending in that fashion. David Ortiz retiring, but not before a magical moment here at Fenway Park.
Okay, and there you go on that report. He was a good player, David Ortiz. If elected, Trump may not be able to fulfill big duties promised. Federal law may prevent Donald Trump, if elected, from fulfilling a big promise he made at last night's presidential debate, according to former U.S. Justice Department chiefs from both political parties. But former attorneys general under Republican and Democrat administrations said presidents don't get to decide on the appointment of a special prosecutor. Muskie and other former Justice Department heads said that the president may request a special investigator be named, but that it's up to the Attorney General whether to appoint one. Muskie told ABC News the president can say what they want to happen, but the Attorney General's proper response would be, "That's interesting, I'll take a look, but I decide that you don't." Muskie noted that it takes someone with a spin to make the right decision, especially considering that the president has the power to fire the Attorney General. Though the Attorney General serves at the pleasure of the president, the head of the Justice Department is supposed to act with a measure of independence. Putin's promise to join OPEC output freezes may not rebalance market, Goldman says. Russia may be ready to join OPEC's effort to curb oil supply, but concerns remain about whether the deal would rebalance the oil market. Goldman Sachs said in a Tuesday note that while recent comments by Saudi Arabia and Russia pointed to a greater probability of production cut, higher production from Liberia, Nigeria, and Iraq are reducing the odds of such deal rebalancing the oil market in 2017. Samsung tells users turn your Galaxy Note 7 phone now. Turn them off. Let's take a listen to this video from CNN.
Samsung's problems with its Galaxy Note 7 appear far from over. A person familiar with the matter telling CNN on Monday that they have now temporarily halted production, as there have been reports that there are even problems with the replacement phones. Now, this device was originally released back in August. There were some reports of the device actually catching on fire or bursting into flames. In September, then, Samsung recalled 2.5 million of the handsets. But now, these reports that some of those replacement sets may also be faulty has caused major carriers in the US and Australia to stop replacing the phones. The likes of T-Mobile, AT&T, Telstra, all waiting to have more clarification from Samsung. Now, Samsung had an official statement this Monday, fairly vague, saying they are temporarily adjusting the production schedule. They do say that they are looking into the reports of replacement phones potentially having caught fire, including one last week on a Southwest Airlines flight. The flight was cancelled because of this incident before it departed. Samsung says the replacement phones used a battery that's used in the Chinese market, a market that wasn't originally involved in this recall. So, of course, the question now is, are the phones that are also used in China at fault, or in fact, is this a bigger problem than Samsung had originally anticipated?
Okay, and there you have it on that report. Now let's take a look at your weather. Here's a live look on radar right now. As you see on radar, we have a few clouds and clear skies for today. Now let's take a look at your weather on our weather system. Your weather on our weather system, your wind speed peak is 4 miles per hour, average is 1. Current is 0 from the west. Your temperature is 37 degrees. Humidity is 81%. Dew point is 32 degrees. Your forecast is partly cloudy, and your pressure is 30.18. Now let's take a look at some alerts we have for you today. We have some weather alerts for you, so let's take a look at all 10. Belknap, New Hampshire, frost advisory. Carroll, New Hampshire, freeze warning and frost advisory. Chester, New Hampshire, freeze warning. Grafton, New Hampshire, freeze warning. Hillsborough, New Hampshire, frost advisory. Merrimack, New Hampshire, frost advisory. Rockingham, New Hampshire, frost advisory. Stratford, New Hampshire, frost advisory. And Sullivan, New Hampshire, frost advisory. Now let's take a look at your next 7-day forecast. Here's a look at your next 7-day forecast. Your weather for today, a cold start, 63 degrees. Now let's take a look at your traffic. Here's a look at your traffic right now. We're seeing a lot of green roadways, and we have a few yellow areas and a few tiny red areas. Otherwise, your traffic is moving pretty good on your Tuesday morning. And now we're going to take a quick commercial break of Good Morning New Hampshire. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.